Hi everyone, good to have all of you here with us today. I'm Shimply, head nutritionist, lifestyle expert, and head of training with Team Luke Coutinho. Today we're going to have quite an interesting conversation with our client Shravani, who's now a good friend of mine as well. She would love to share her story with us, talk about her fabulous transformation, not just the physical health, but also her emotional and mental health, and how changing her mindset and perspective towards some health aspects helped her achieve what she aimed for. So Shravani has been with us since April, and she came to us with a goal of weight loss with some underlying hormonal issues, mainly PCOD and Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition. We'll talk about that in a bit. She's still with us. It's still work in progress. We are still on it. Her program is still on. So she would just like to share her journey with us, what helped her, how introspection and the process of self discovery helped her make certain lifestyle changes. So, be it any health condition, we always believe in breaking it down to its roots, right, and figure out the real cause for the problem. And when it comes to any autoimmune condition, we have to go back to fixing our gut. So we'll talk about it as we flow in our conversation. A little bit about Shravani. She is currently an MBA student at Chicago Boot. Prior to that, she was a consultant in the food business, helping brands with their positioning and working with them to make sure healthy food is more accessible and affordable to all. At the age of 19, she was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Like I said, it's an autoimmune condition wherein your immune system attacks your own organs and tissues. In case of thyroid, in case of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, your immune system starts attacking your thyroid gland and it makes it underactive, causing hypothyroidism. So she's been dealing with that since the age of 19. She experienced a rampant weight gain of 23 kgs in just 2 years, and post that, she was put on certain medications and under the guidance of some nutritionists and fitness trainers as well. So she's done quite a few health programs before. She's always been diligent with every plan that she's been put on, and she definitely showed great results with every diet that she started. But there was something that she thought was not working the way it's supposed to. Okay, because there was a time wherein she followed a diet program to the T in around 2014, if I'm not wrong, Shavli. And after stopping that diet, she ended up gaining 12 kgs back in a very short span of time. So that's like a yo-yo effect. You lose faster and you gain faster than that. So that was like a huge setback in her weight loss journey. There were times wherein she completely lost motivation. She was hit by anxiety, self image, self esteem issues, emotional roller coasters. She lost track completely. And she knew something was not working, and there could be something that she needs to look into, which is over and above just the diet. Okay, because starting a diet or stopping a diet without fixing your lifestyle glitches never ever helps. You may follow the cleanest of diets, but if you have a poor quality sleep for years, or if your emotional health is all over the place, then there is no chance that the clean diet is going to work for you. So this led Shravani to the journey of introspection and self-discovery. She found out her lifestyle glitches and she started working towards them step by step. She chose not to be on a stringent diet anymore and experience a yo-yo effect later, but she chose to pop in a pill called lifestyle and keep her health well maintained with all the lifestyle changes that she made. Okay, so opening it up to you, Shravani. Good to have you with all of us here. And I'm really quite excited to have a nice chat with you now. I'm sure your learnings and your journey is going to inspire many of us. Okay, so tell us, what did you learn during your period of self-discovery? You have a nice TED talk on this particular subject. So we would really like to know how introspection helped you make the right decisions and right choices in terms of your health, and what made you realize that diet alone is never going to work and you need to go way beyond that. So over to you, Shavni.
Okay, so I still believe it's a massive work in progress.
Yes, it is.
Um, like how the weight goes yo-yo, even my lifestyle choices have been going yo-yo,
Yeah.
particularly now because I have been working the night shift with my classes, my recruiting, everything being post 10 p.m. So I'm up from literally like 8 p.m. to 11 a.m. and then I sleep.
Uh-huh.
So it's been tough. I've actually, and I've mentioned this to you, saying I feel very disgusting. I feel lethargic. I don't feel like, I feel like I've gained weight. So it's not about the weight gain, it's just about how I feel. Like I'm not feeling very good because I've not been getting sunlight. I've not been working out. It's been really tough. And I've been trying to control food. I don't have good food timings right now. So and this comes and goes in waves because it's not like I have a consistent lifestyle where I go to work or, I have class. It's extremely erratic. But I think for me, it's more about stress and anxiety that has actually, in my case, I think it's worsened this whole condition. And for me, people are the biggest stress. Nothing else gives me as much stress. So I think it's very important for you to feel relaxed, for you to see results. 2020 has been a roller coaster. So at the beginning of the lockdown, I was extremely anxious about work because I'm in the food business. So I knew I was going to get hit. But I think when I started to realize that I couldn't control it, I was so relaxed. And I think that also contributed to the way I was able to lose weight from the time we started in April. And in terms of self-discovery, I think realizing what my strengths and my weaknesses are, I've begun to accept that I am not the normal 25-year-old. I realize I have limitations. I can't, and I tell this to my friends all the time. I tell them saying, I can't party 2 nights in a row and be okay the third day, because it takes a physical toll on my body. And I think realizing what my limits are was extremely important. Not feeling bad for myself was another contributor. And I think realizing what foods work for me, realizing my diet. But the difference was I was a college student. So I was in denial that, I had an issue. I should counter the issue. I was just never accepting of my situation. I think you're also 18 or 19 years old, right? You're quite young and you have the tsunami hit you. And it wasn't out there in the open for people to know. It was like an invisible illness. There was a stigma attached to it. Even today, so many of my guy friends, they don't believe that things like this exist, like autoimmune issues exist. They see someone, they look at my friend who would have lost like 20 kilos in 3 months, and they'll be like, oh, she can do it, you can do it too. They don't take into account metabolism issues. They don't take into account that every single body is different. So battling that stigma itself I was caught between wanting to be the super active, hyperactive, normal kid who could, be part of clubs, do a daytime job, study. And it did affect my grades. I'm being honest, like I found it very difficult to study. I found basic things very difficult. I remember when I was in my sophomore year, I just had enough energy to attend class and come back. That's it. And I would just sleep. So I would never even go out, and it does result in anxiety. I think I was dealing with a bit of depression at that time. It wasn't a fad for me to say, oh, I'm depressed. I actually didn't want to tell people that I was, feeling certain things. I was feeling lonely. I was feeling isolated. I didn't want to tell them those things. And today also my emotions come in waves, and people think that like people don't pay heed to it. Everyone is going through an emotional period. There's a way to deal with it. When Luke talks about the importance of mental health, I think more than physical health, mental health is what helps you get motivated.
Absolutely. No matter how many supplements you put,
how many supplements, the best diet,
it's not going to work. Correct.
It's not going to work.
Correct.
And I think realizing that is extremely important, and accepting you have a problem, Right. I see so many people smoke, so many people, just go insane with their habits. And, a really close friend of mine, she has, like her mom has an autoimmune issue, and she would smoke and a lot of times I would be like, listen, you know this, but it's not like I'm against women smoking or men smoking. I don't think anyone should be smoking. Because what hurts me is that I'm someone who doesn't drink. I'm someone who doesn't I for me, eating a burger is a meal, is a treat. So when people are given a normal body, or they're giving a normal functioning body, and they don't respect it, it hurts me, because I'm like, you have that privilege of being able to do these things, if please don't ruin it. Have like you should be able to lead a sustainable life where you're able to do everything. And so that hurts me. So all this was part of my self-discovery.
Right.
And I think that's very important.
Of course, smoking is something that we wouldn't support, but things like having a burger once a while, or drinking once a while. People always blame alcohol or the junk food for the health condition, but the problem is not really with the alcohol. Like Luke says, the problem is not with the alcohol. The problem is with the person drinking it. If you're drinking it mindlessly, if you're drinking it with, losing all your balance and control, then definitely that alcohol is going to have the negative effect on you.
I don't know if it was my health condition, but, with autoimmune comes like really poor gut health. So the 1 or 2 times that I used to drink, in college, my stomach used to pack up. Like, so it was, I don't know if it was a taste thing, I don't know if it was a stomach, I don't know what it was. So I was completely put off alcohol because of that, and it like, so these are things that you would expect a normal college going student to be able to indulge in, and for me bread was everything. And you know that, but
that's right. So how did you manage to balance it out? Like, because when you're on the plan, when you're on a diet, of course, you're not allowed to have bread. You're not really allowed to have sugar, or, now that you're on a GFCF diet, which is gluten-free, casein-free diet, how are you managing that balance, taking care of your cravings, making sure you're also having your reward meals and not making yourself feel deprived of not having your favorite food? So how are you striking that balance currently?
Okay, so first, I won't use the word diet, honestly.
Yes, please.
You've given me everything I could eat, everything I've wanted to. In fact, you have motivated me to eat more,
Right. Because I remember on the first call, you straight away.
Everything.
Right.
I cut out everything. I cut out wheat, I cut out parathas, I cut out bread, I cut out everything. And I think you taught me how to reintroduce these foods into my diet, So if you ask me, the only thing I ever missed in my life was bread. I didn't miss anything else, because I don't think I was an unhealthy eater ever in my life. I was very traditional, sticking to dahi chawal, sticking to dal chawal, hummus. I always gravitated towards eating healthy, because maybe it was the fact that I knew that my stomach wasn't going to be able to digest a lot of things. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't going to feel good about myself post eating it. So these were things that were extremely important.
Yes.
And you told me to never cut out anything completely from my life, So when I had cravings, I would try to control my cravings. And my cravings were for very stupid things. My cravings were for like one cookie, and that's something I never have cravings for.
Yeah.
And you were the types to be like, hey, if you've tried 2-3 times, it's okay, give in to it. It's okay. Don't suppress your cravings. Enjoy what you're eating. Absolutely. And I don't think I actually ate more when I right now than I did before. So I've been able to eat my burgers. I've been able to eat my sourdough pizzas. I've been able to eat bread. I've been able to eat everything. Right. It's when I know that I am going to get it at some point in time, I'm able to balance it more. Absolutely. I feel like on these fad diets, when you cut out stuff, people feel deprived, and that actually results in them going off.
Bang on. Yes. Yeah. So when you suppress your cravings, you definitely end up in binge episodes later.
For sure.
That's why I remember you asked me on our first call, you asked me, am I going to have my cheat meals? Am I going to have my cheat days? And I told you straight away, let's not call it a cheat meal or a cheat day. Let's call it a reward meal or a reward day. So when you replace the term cheat with the term reward, it completely changes the meaning of the entire concept, because reward is supposed to be earned. You have to be disciplined for some time in order to earn and enjoy that reward that you have, right? So I think that really worked well for you, right? Label it as a cheat meal, of course you have it mindlessly, you don't really take care of the before after things that you have to be looking at,
Yeah, for sure.
compensatory actions and stuff. So yes, it has to be a reward meal, and you must plan it, because what happens is, if you're completely off sugar or any particular food completely, your body becomes resistant to it. And at some point, if you really need to eat it, your body may not take it the right way, you may not be able
Exactly.
to process it the right way, and that may result in
So
side
I used to plan it. Remember, I used to tell you I'm gonna have a burger, pizza, everything. But what I used to do is I used to eat a bit of everything. I used to order everything. I used to eat a bit of chaat, eat a bit of my pizza. I used to
absolutely.
satiate my cravings. And
Yeah.
what you also don't realize is that for me, I love eating out. Absolutely love eating out. For me, eating out is um it's a stress buster. I'm in the
Absolutely,
food
for
business.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, and COVID kind of took that away. So I realized it was the best time for me to, get control of my diet, or
that's
like,
right.
my lifestyle.
That's
And
right.
even now when I go out, I've not started going out yet, but when I do,
Mm-hmm.
when I do start to go out, um,
Mm-hmm.
I will eat things that I know that are safe. Like I would probably
Mm-hmm.
take a bite of like a burger here and there, but like my main meal will probably be something that's sourdough related, or it might be rice based, or Thai based. So
Right.
Asian food is really easy for me to manage.
Yeah.
Pizzas, if it's sourdough, it's very easy for me to manage.
Mm-hmm.
um I was never a maida fan. I never liked refined flours. I was never into these cakes and these cupcakes and whatnot. um yeah, maybe once in a while I may indulge in like a
Yeah.
kulcha, because for me an aloo kulcha is like is a reward, is a treat.
Right.
But yeah, most likely I'd be able to stick to like healthy options. So that's how I also balance it. So I'm getting the feeling that I'm eating out, but I'm also within my uh
Limits.
yeah, within
Yeah.
my what I
Absolutely.
need
So
to eat.
talking about your autoimmune condition now, let me just explain it to everybody, like why you're off gluten, off dairy, because people have this notion that you have to be off gluten, off dairy if you're planning to lose weight. Remember, weight loss has got nothing to do with being off gluten and being off dairy.
Yeah,
You are off gluten, off dairy just because of this medical condition, your Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So the first thing that we need to work on while dealing with any autoimmune condition is the gut. Okay, because it all starts from the gut. We call it a gut fishnet concept. Okay, at a microscopic level, if you check out your gut lining, it actually resembles a fish net. It's got small and tight junctions in between for the nutrients to pass through into the
correct.
blood circulation after digestion. So this net, or the lining that we're talking about, it's extremely delicate, and it's susceptible to damage, basically. So if a person has a poor lifestyle for years, wherein he keeps consuming unhealthy food and beverages and keep popping in antibiotics, antacids for a long time, or if there's an overconsumption or a mindless consumption of sugar, salt, artificial sweeteners, all of that, what happens is it literally starts poking holes into this fish net or the gut lining. And this renders the tight spaces big. And now, due to this increased spaces, it freely allows the exchange of unwanted molecules into the bloodstream, which are actually supposed to exit the system. So it allows all of it to enter into the bloodstream. And these molecules could be certain toxins or certain undigested food particles or large sized protein molecules, including gluten and casein. So when they enter the bloodstream, your immunity identifies it as some foreign body that has attacked your system. So as a response to that foreign body which is attacked, which is not actually a foreign body, it's just that unwanted, undigested protein molecules that are entering the bloodstream. So immune system starts producing antibodies to destroy them, thinking that it's some foreign body attacking your system. And because there is a constant release of these particles into the bloodstream due to faulty lifestyle, our immune system becomes overactive. It just continues producing antibodies, slowly start attacking our own healthy organs and tissues. So, in case of Hashimoto's, the immune system starts attacking the thyroid gland and it makes it underactive. And that's what results in hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So, to deal with it, we essentially have to fix the gut. So, that's what we've been doing for Shravani as well, reducing inflammation and relaxing the flared up immune system. And to achieve this, we use something called as the GFCF approach, which is going gluten-free and casein-free to control the immune responses and to reduce the inflammation as well. So that's what we've been doing for Shravani. So Shravani, you've been off gluten, off dairy for quite some time now. So how have
It's
you
been
managed
3
it
years,
so
three and a
far?
half years. Yeah,
That's
3.5
right. Exactly. So was it very difficult for you to get started? Because
years.
wheat chapati is something that everybody's grown up on, dairy milk is something that we've had since our childhood. So how did you really sustain, and what difference did it
Yeah.
make for your
So in my case, I was never a milk person. I was never a milk person. I just I just never used to drink milk. Even in college, when I was abroad, I never used to drink milk.
Mhm.
The only thing I used to have that was wheat, focused was probably bread. I'm a dal chawal person.
But how about bread? Now bread comes under gluten. So how did you manage that?
Uh, it helps when there's no bread in the house.
Right.
It
The
helps
convenience
when
factor.
it helps when everyone around you takes the thing to say no bread.
Yeah.
Um, I my I think the only thing that's common to all, like there are about 4 or 5 of us who live at home, the only food that will be consumed by every one of us is bread, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I completely went off bread.
Okay.
I don't even remember eating bread for a solid 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly once in a while, like if we wanted a sandwich, we'd eat it.
Uh-huh.
It was really tough, but I had like the bigger goal in my head. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like I was deprived of everything else. I was eating everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fine. I think mentally it's a mental game too. You have
It
to
is.
say,
Yeah.
I can't eat bread because of certain issues. So it's a mental game. So now,
Yeah, mind conditioning
yeah,
basically.
now
Yeah.
this bread in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We've all gone back to eating sourdough bread. There's bread in the house, but I don't eat bread that often.
Yeah. So making the right choices
It's
in case
like
you end up
the
craving for
bread is
bread.
there. My dad has to say, listen, please finish the last slice because it's going to get spoiled types.
Uh-huh.
And I am okay without it. So now when I go back to the States, I have all my gluten-free bread options. That's
Uh-huh.
something I'm super excited about going back to the West because I get everything I want gluten-free. I get my
Right.
bread gluten-free. I get an insane number of options of sourdough. So I don't feel deprived at all. In fact, I'm excited because I get to eat everything even more in America.
Right. Right.
And you
Yeah.
also tell me to eat MO wheat once a week,
Yeah. Which is kapli wheat. Yeah.
which is kapli
So
wheat.
just to let everybody know, kapli wheat is the kind of wheat variety which has got a very weak gluten molecule. So it's not as hard to digest kapli wheat as the other wheat varieties are. So in case people who are on GFCF diet, like gluten-free, casein-free diet, in case they need to have wheat, we always recommend kapli wheat once a while because the gluten wouldn't really cause any distress to the gut when it comes to digesting that gluten. It's a very weak gluten molecule. So that's what I recommended to Shravani as well, and I think that worked well too, right?
Yeah, so we all eat kapli wheat. None of us have normal atta anymore. All of us are having MO. So
Yeah,
if we have to make an aloo paratha, we make it with that.
perfect.
Our parathas are, so none of us are, I think it's only my dad who loves his rotis. He can have rotis twice a day, 7 times a week.
Right.
Otherwise, I think we're all like rice eaters. And at night, we like to switch it up. So there'll be a pasta, there'll be idlis, there'll be dosas, there'll be rotis. Like it's really light food at night.
Right.
So my lifestyle didn't change. I think one thing that was common to America and India was that I was eating very early.
Mm.
I used to get hungry by 5:30, 5:45.
So that's going to be my next question to you, actually, the last one to sum it up. So, what are the top three lifestyle changes that you've made so far, which have made a huge difference to you and your health and your body? So, I think early dinner that you just mentioned right now,
Okay.
circadian intermittent fasting, that seems to have worked really well for you.
So taking out the last 2 months because of this whole nocturnal study schedule of mine, I think for me, eating early was something I learned in America. And when I used to come back for a break and I used to be ravenous at 5:45, everyone thought I was insane. they'd be like, who eats dinner at 5:45? But I think my body got so used to it that when I used to eat dinner late and I used to go to bed even 3 hours after that, I used to feel like a rock sitting in my stomach. So I changed my meal times completely. Intermittent fasting. I mean, I love sleeping, so it automatically used to happen. This intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I increased my water intake. Definitely. I don't know. My mom never used to drink water as a kid.
Mhm.
Um, Now she forces herself to drink water.
Mhm.
So same with me. I have to sit. I measure the amount of water I drink to register how much I've been drinking. That has definitely been
Yeah.
a lifestyle choice.
Right.
I think intermittent sleep. I
Right.
also
And also, I think meditation and gratitude, I think that's something that you've been practicing for quite some
so
time now, and it's helped you emotionally and mentally as well. So I think that's a
I,
great lifestyle
I
change
think
that.
I for me meditation I don't do it as often,
Mm-hmm.
and but definitely gratitude. I think I've it's been a very tough 2 years, not even 1 year.
Yeah.
um like there was we'd faced it all, last year we'd faced a death in the
Mm-hmm.
family, we'd faced
Right.
like I had faced rejection from my college applications. I was doing college applications. Work was getting tough. Then the COVID. There was
Mm-hmm.
just so many emotional up and downs. So I think when you come up mentally and you say, "Hey, listen, I need to." So before going to bed, I always tell myself that I have to be grateful for at least one thing. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
I am not a religious person. I do believe that there's a stronger energy out there. So, I mean, I thank God. I thank, I'm so lucky that I'm in a university that is my dream. Like, so I'm always practicing gratitude, and that really helps.
Beautiful. That's brilliant. And I know it's been quite a long process, and you've been quite consistent with all of these changes to achieve what you
Yeah,
wanted to. And it's
that's
always going to be work in progress. It's going to be a way of your life. It's not that do
for
it
sure.
for 6 months and then stop it. So consistency is definitely the key.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think that's been working really well for you.
Yeah.
Great. So thank you very much, Shravani, for being with us today. I think your story, your journey, your learnings that you shared with us, it's going to inspire a lot of people out there, including me. So thank you very much for that,
No,
and
no,
keep doing
please
your
don't
best.
see. I definitely don't think I'm an inspiration. I'll tell you
Of
why.
course, you are.
For me, I believe that I'm just trying to identify how to deal with things on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
The difference probably that worked in my favor was that there were times that I was mentally strong. That's the only difference. I think everyone can get their life in order, everyone can do their stuff. And you've told me so many of your clients' success stories and how they've come from such adverse, how they've changed the face of adversity in their lives. I see and I read, and I mean, not to compare, but I feel like people are doing much bigger things. The only thing that I would tell people is that if I can do it, really, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah. Because you just need to start.
Yeah, you just need to start. I think if
Yeah.
you just block out all the music and you start, you're good to go.
Absolutely. Great, great. Thanks for sharing all of that. So we don't really have questions, Shravani. We just have one comment for you. Rupal Mehta has commented, we can see the glow on her face due to all healthy foods that you've been eating. So lots of blessings to you. So thank you very much for sharing that.
So
And thanks everyone for being a part of it. I'm sure you, got a few points to pick up from this
I
conversation.
have something to say that I'd like to add before we.
Sure, please go ahead.
I think Shimply has been such a positive force in. My mom adores her. My dad, though, my dad family loves her, and I think it's about the kind of energy she brings into the coaching that has really given me the strength and the push required. And she makes it simple. She always gave me the space. She always gave me, I don't know, she always gave me the freedom to eat whatever I wanted and be however I
I
wanted.
gave the power. I gave the power of making decisions to you directly,
Yeah.
rather
And
than.
I think that motivates me so much. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Shravani. Thanks everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is underscore Shimply. So you can always reach out to me in case you have any questions. Thank you very much. Thanks, Shravani. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you. Bye.